Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If Ukraine mass media reports what this article reports, then the situation for the Ukrainian army is pretty bad. And remember, when the Ukrainians are reporting about some successes, Russian successes, obviously they minimize the successes. And when they talk about the Russian losses, they maximize them. The same do the Russians. So let's see what these Ukrainians are talking about the front. And it's a very bad situation for them. This article comes from Ukrinform. It is from today, the 12th of December 2022. This is the title. Russian troops conducting offensive actions in 4 directions. Russian troops are focusing efforts on conducting offensive actions in 4 directions, such as Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Zaporozhia. The first 3, Lyman, Bakhmut and Avdiivka, they were on and off, and then the last one used to be Novopavlivka, but now it seems like Zaporozhia, or maybe it is Novopavlivka and Zaporozhia. The relevant statement was made by the General Staff and the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook, an Ukrinform correspondent reports. In other directions, Russian invaders are trying to restrain the actions of Ukraine's defense forces. Over the past day, the 12th, Russian troops have launched 6 missile strikes, including 4 on civil infrastructure in the Donetsk region's Kostianivka. The enemy shelled the city of Kherson with multiple launch rocket systems. In such directions as Volyn, Polisia, Siversky and Slobozansky, the situation remained rather unchanged. No sign of enemy offensive groupings being formed were detected. Separate Belarusian and Russian units are remaining in the areas bordering with Ukraine. Over the past day, the enemy has launched mortar and artillery strikes near the Sumy region, Serdinia Buda and Ryazne, and the Kharkiv regions, Strilchka, Stalistia, and about 5 more. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian occupiers opened fire in the Kharkiv regions Kistivka, Kotarivka, and 2 more in the Lugansk regions Stelmakivka. In the Lyman direction, now this is the one where they conduct offensive operations, the enemy struck the Donetsk regions Terny, Yapolivka and Torske. In the Bakhmut direction, another offensive operation, Russian invaders used tanks, mortars, cannon and rocket artillery to shell about 20 settlements, including Donetsk regions, and they give Spirnie, Bilohorivka, Vesele, Soledar, Bakhmut, Chasir Yar and Druzhba. In the Avdiivka direction, another offensive, Russian occupiers opened fire on the Donetsk regions Zaliznie, New York, Berdichi, Avdiivka, Optinie, Vodine and 2 more, and Marinka. In Novopavlivka direction, this used to be an offensive conducted by the Russian, the Donetsk regions Vulhedar, Bohoivavlenka and another one came under enemy fire. In the Zaporozhia direction, the one with a new offensive, Russian troops shelled the Donetsk regions Vremivka and the Zaporozhia regions Zelenpole, Novopil, Novodarivka and about 5 more, and Orkihiv. In the Kherson direction, Russian occupiers struck settlements in the Kherson region and the city of Kherson with cannon and rocket artillery. Casualties among civilians were reported and civil infrastructure was damaged. No military killed, no, nothing. Russian invaders continued to loot civil infrastructure objects in the temporarily occupied areas of the Kherson region. Yeah, they still city infrastructure. This is because the Soviets did the exact thing when they came over. I know that as a fact. Over Romania, supposedly they took the railway. They take them out and they transport them into Soviet Union. They dismantle them. They know the steel or whatever they are made out of. Russian invaders, and now these guys are trying to make the same, same, how should I put it, image that the Russians are the Soviets. As of December 11, 2022, they stole equipment from local agricultural enterprises in Rubanivka. In Crimea's Mizuvod, why would they steal it? Because that's going to be their land, no? Where are they going to get it? To Russia? But that's Russia. They stole it, so they bring it back to give it back to the whatever institutions they have over there or companies. Doesn't make sense, but hey, what do you expect? It's war. Everything goes. In Crimea's Mizovne and Kromomorske, Russian occupation authorities intensified administrative, police and counterintelligence measures. Meanwhile, Russian troops continue to suffer losses. Over 100 enemy soldiers with injuries of various severity levels are remaining in a local hospital in the Luhansk region, Kremina. In order to replenish personnel losses and restaff the units of the 1st Army Corps, women are being called up to mobilization. 28 women were already being drafted and sent to training by the Kalinin District Military Commissariat in the city of Donetsk. And what's the problem? Are you a misogynistic people? No, I don't think you can be. You can be. Here in the United States, they tell us that it's a great thing when women go to die in a war, or they, enlist into the military and Marines and all that, even though their standards are dropped, so they can have access. Over the past day, Ukrainian air forces have launched 4 strikes on enemy personnel, ammunition and military equipment clusters. Ukraine's missile and artillery units hit 2 Russian command posts and 4 personnel clusters. Okay, I got that now. So, if this piece of information comes from Ukrinform, saying that the Russian troops conducting offensive actions in 4 directions, and this is provided by the General Staff, you can imagine, multiply that with 3, and you probably get the more accurate, view of what's going on over there. The unfortunate thing is that people die, and they die for other interests. That's what bothers me. Is these guys under the stupidity of, the Russians attack, the Russians want to do this, want to do that. They fight their asses and they die. And actually, all this was, organized and put into practice by other bigger interests. This is what bothers me. I mean, if this would be I would call it legitimate war, with legitimate, grievances, and the Russians attack us to kill us all, by all means. On the other hand, those guys were slaughtering all the Russians in the eastern territory, we gotta intervene and so on. The thing is, the Russians gave their bosses and the Ukrainians 8 years, from 2014 until 2022, gave them 8 years to arm for this. Why would you wait so long? Because you have to arm as well? Well, if you look at Angela Merkel, and for instance, the former president of Ukraine, Poroshenko, they said they signed the Minsk agreements 1 and 2 in 2014 and 2015, just to buy time to arm. For what? So you didn't have any intention on implementing those things. Even Zelensky said that he disagreed with that. He's not going to implement it. I think in 2020, sometimes 21, I'm sorry. Well, as I said, maybe after about 40 or 50 years, we're going to figure out who was who and what was what. And then maybe some of you will be alive and will look at it and say, really? But by that time, a lot of destruction and killing occurred. So open your horizon, and by staying strong, smart, looking for the truth, and then being just. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Remember all those.